this is the website we want to extract data from. It's a UK job site. And now let's go ahead and search for the software engineer job in Manchester with a radius of 30 miles. And this searching process we also want to automate with Selenium. So Selenium is a very good choice for this project. All right, let's search for the jobs. And now you see here a listing of different job opportunities. And our main goal of this project is to store this job title, the location, the salary, the employment type, and finally this snippet of the description in a CSV file. Well, in this project, we want to use the Jupyter Notebook as our IDE. So let's go ahead and create a new file. And let's name it as job_scraping. Oh, sorry, not joy. It should be actually job. It was my bad. And the very first step here is to import the WebDriver from the Selenium package. So let's go ahead and type from Selenium, import the WebDriver. Let's run it. And now let's start with the project. First, we need to initialize our Chrome driver. So let's use this driver variable. And now let's go for WebDriver.Chrome, because in this project we want to use our Chrome driver. And here we need to provide the location where the path itself is stored. So let me just copy and paste my personal path and put it inside these brackets here. And now I guess we are good to go. Great. So first, in the very first step, we need to open the website itself, because as I already mentioned, we also want to automate the searching process. And then we want to begin and scrape the data which I just mentioned. Okay, so let's open this website and go for driver.get. And here we need to provide this starting page. So this is actually jobsite.co.uk. Let's copy that and let's paste it inside this brackets here. And now let's maximize the window. So driver.maximize window. Then let's wait for 1 second. So it's time.sleep and 1. And in order to be able to use this one, we need to import the time package here. So let's go and type import the time package. Let's run it, and now this should be fine. And now we need to click on this I accept button. So this is actually the cookie stuff we need to accept. So let's take a look and see how we can reach this button here. And if this is actually not familiar to you, make sure you take a look on the Selenium basics. So you know what, for example, the XPath expression is. And I have provided a separate tutorial, which is about 5 hours. So make sure you take a look on this one. But for now, let's search for this button. And here we want to build our XPath expression and use this button tag. Then we go for the class attribute and paste this value inside. So let me just copy this value. And then let's go and build the XPath expression. So let's go for button at class equals the value itself, close the bracket, and you see here that we have successfully reached the button we need. Copy this expression, go back to the Jupyter Notebook, and now let's provide one cookie variable and store this expression inside. So driver.find element by XPath. So it's this option here. And then paste down your expression. And sometimes this cookie stuff appears, sometimes not. This is why I would say that we need to write this expression in a try and accept block. So let's go ahead and do this. So this means actually if this cookie stuff appears, just click on I accept. Otherwise, just do nothing. So let's go for cookie.click, and now we need to, sorry for that. So cookie.click, And then in the next step, let's go and write this else block, else pass, and yeah, just do nothing. Now we need to take a look on the search box for the job title and also for the location itself. Afterwards, we need to grab this 30 miles in this dropdown. But now let's start and search the expression for this search box. And you can see here that we have an ID we can use. So let me just copy and paste the value which is stored in this ID attribute. And let me go back to the Jupyter Notebook, create one variable for the job title. So let's go ahead and write down job title equals to driver.find element by ID. And here, let's just paste the value itself. And what we want to do is we want to click on the search box and then we want to type something down. Let's do this. So job title dot click. This is the first step. And then we want to type something in. So it's job title dot send underscore keys. And here we want to search for the software engineer. And I guess now we are good to go. So let me just find this one and this one, and then we can run the script for the very first time. So right click for this search box of the location here. And again, the structure is the same. We have just this location, which is differently from the previous one. We also want to use this ID attribute. Let's copy this value inside. Then let's go and create one new variable. Let's go for location equals to driver.find element by ID. Provide this location stuff here. And now let me just copy and paste this 2 lines. Here we need to go for the location. And yeah, first click on this and then we want to type something in. And now we want to search for jobs in Manchester. All right, so the last step is to get access to this dropdown stuff. And if actually this is not familiar to you, all this expressions, for example, find something for XPath or ID or something like that, then please make sure that you take a look on the Selenium tutorial I've provided. So afterwards you will be able to understand everything we are doing here. And for now, let's go and grab this 30 miles. Here we need to work with the select class. And actually in the very first step, we need to find this expression for this dropdown itself. And for example, here we have different choices. I would say let's go and get this ID. This is actually always a very good choice. So copy this value inside here. And in the next step, we can declare one new variable. Let's go for dropdown equals to driver.find element by ID. Provide this expression inside. And now in the next step, as already mentioned, we need to work with the select class. That means in the very first step, we need to import this Selenium class from the this select class from the Selenium package. So let's go for selenium.webdriver.support.select, and here we want to import this select class. All right, let's run this stuff again. And now we should get access to this select class. Now we need to store this select class in a new variable. So let's use this radius variable equals to select. And inside this select class, we need to provide this dropdown variable here. And now we should be able to search for the text element here. let's say we want to search for the visible text. Actually, for this select class, you have 3 different choices: how you can get access to this select class, or how you can use it to search your entries. But we want to go for the visible text, and actually we need to provide the exact same spelling what we see here. I would suggest let's go here inside this HTML stuff, and you see here we have this spelling here for the 30 miles. Let's just double click here, copy that, and then in order to provide some kind of typo, let's open this Jupyter notebook, and here let's go for radius.select by visible text. Actually, as I told you, we have 3 different choices, and now we want to get this one. And again, in my Selenium tutorial, I have provided the different opportunities how to use these 3 options. But for now, let's go and get this select by visible text. And inside this expression, let's provide this 30 miles text element. And finally, this is actually the step how we are able to reach this 30 miles from this dropdown. Okay, in the very last step of this search process, we need to click on the search button. So let's inspect on this button here. And I would say let's go for the input tag, value attribute, and this search value itself. So let me just create this expression for that. Let's go for input. So actually this should be a double slash here, input, and then let's go for the value and paste down this search value itself. And you see here, this element is unique for this button. So let's use it, copy and paste it inside one new variable. Let's go and create the search variable equals to driver.find element by xpath. So again, it's this one. Let's provide the expression here. And in the next step, we want to click on this button here. And before we run this code for the very first time, I would say let's provide one sleep element here for 1 second after we have typed in the software engineer. The same after we have provided the Manchester as our desired city. And finally, when we have chosen the radius, let's also wait for 1 second. And finally, let's click on the search button. Okay, so actually, let's cross the fingers and run this code for the first time. And you see here that we have actually our first mistake. So let's check what I have messed up here. Alright, so I've written down try and else. This is actually nonsense because we need to go for the try and except. And now let's run this code again. And you see here that this is actually good. And so take a look on this. We accept this cookie button, go for software engineer, Manchester, provide this 30 miles and click on search. Now it was a little bit fast, but it worked. If you want to, you can just provide, for example, time.sleep, and here you can just put down 2 or 3 seconds, and this process will be a little bit slower. But for now, as you see, we don't have an error message and everything worked fine so far. And we have successfully reached this page where we can start the scraping process. So the next step is to create actually 5 lists. So we need a list for the job title, for the location, salary, for the employment type, and then for the snippet of this description. And what we need to do with this list is first we need to create it, and then we need to loop through this list's elements and append it to our CSV file. Let's start with the first list and let's see how we can get access to these job titles. Right click here, inspect it, and let's inspect it again. This is actually the text element we want to reach, and I would say let's start with this div tag, traverse down to this anchor tag, and then to h2. All right, let's do this. So let's go for div class, and let me just copy this value here. So it's div class equals to the value I've just copied, close the brackets, and then we need to go down to this A and then to h2. So it's A, h2, and you see here that now we have access to the job titles, and also we have 20 entries, and on this side we have actually 20 job entries. This looks fine for us, and I would say let's just copy this expression, go back to our IDE and store this inside one variable. Let's name it just titles equals to driver.findElements. Again, every time you work with a list, you need to select elements and not element. And inside this stuff, let's just paste our expression. And here, let me just show you what I want to do here. So let's loop in the next step through this list. So let's go for title in titles, print title dot text, and now if we run this snippet here, you will see that now we have access to all these 20 job titles, and this is actually what we want to achieve. All right, here we can see that this was successful, and in the next step we need to do this same procedure for the data we want to get. So now let's proceed with the location. Right click on location, and let's try to get access to this stuff here. So this ls1 and leads. And for that, what we can do is we can start with li class location. Then we need to traverse down to this span element, and then we have access to this text. Let's do this. So it's li class equals to location, and then we need to grab or traverse down to span. Again, you see we have 20 results here, and each result is the result for the location. And here we are also good to go. Copy that. Let's go back to the IDE and do the same for the location stuff. So it's location driver.findElements by XPath, and here let's just paste down our expression. And for just for clarification, let's do this procedure one more time. So let's loop through this location list. For I in location, print I.text. I want just to make sure that every one of you got this point, what we want to achieve here. So sorry, it's title.text. Sorry for that, I messed something up. I.text. Let's run it, and you see here that we have 20 locations. So this expression is also fine, and for the remaining 3 lists, I will just go straight forward. And I think you got this point. If something is not clear enough, please let me know in the comment sections, and we will find a solution for that. But for now, let's start and grab this salary stuff. And for this example, let me just remove the last expression here, and we can just go ahead and grab li title salary. It's pretty straightforward. So it's li title equals to salary, close the brackets, and you see here we have again 20 entries. Let's copy that back to Jupyter Notebook. Let's go and declare one new variable, salary equals to driver dot find elements by XPath. So elements by XPath, paste your expression inside these brackets, back to our website. Now we need to get this employment type, right click inspect, And here, let's go for li class job type. And then we can traverse down to span and get this text element. So li class job type. So this is the last expression. Let's do our modification for that. Li class job type, close the brackets. Again, you see we have 20 entries. This is fine. This is the expression we want to get. So Jupyter Notebook. And here let's provide one new variable, contract underscore type equals to driver dot find elements by XPath. Provide your expression here. And the last thing what we want to get is this description snippet. Actually, this is not the whole expression, but just a snippet of it. But for now, this is, yeah, also interesting. So let's inspect this snippet stuff here. And first, let's remove the last expression. And I would say we can start with this div title job details, traverse down, and you see here that here we have this text we are looking for. Let's do this and write down our XPath expression. So it's actually div title equals to the value I've just copied. Close this bracket here. And now let's traverse down to this p tag, and inside this p stuff we have the description we are looking for. And again, just one short cross check. We have 20 entries. This is fine. Copy that back to Jupyter Notebook. Provide the last variable here. It's job details equals to driver.find elements by XPath. Then provide our expression inside these brackets. And now we have successfully created our 5 lists. All right, now we are good to go. And in the next step, what we want to do is we need to loop through every list and append it in our CSV file. And before I proceed, let me just make one short modification here. So when we build our expression for the contract type, I need to add something after we have closed the bracket here. Let me just copy and paste it inside this search box here, and let me show you what I mean by that. Now we are here, and I want actually to traverse down to the span tag in order to be able to grab this text element when we loop through our list in the next step. That means let's traverse down to this span tag, and now I guess we are good to go and we can proceed. So let me just remove the last expression with the new one. And again, this is just the addition of this span tag here. All right, now in the next step, we need to open a new CSV file, loop through all the list elements and append the text elements inside this new CSV file. Now let's go ahead and create one completely new CSV file. Let's make it here at the top and write down with open, and inside these brackets we need to provide the name of our CSV file. Let's just use again job_scraping.csv. And here we need to provide the mode we want to work with. And here let's go for the writing mode. Actually, you have different kind of modes. For example, writing, reading, appending, and so on. But now this is the mode we need. Okay, so in the next step, first, wait, I have forgotten something. We need to provide one alias. So let's provide this alias as file. And in the next step, let's go for file.write. And inside these brackets, we need to provide the things we want actually to write. And what we want to accomplish with this line is we want to write down the name of our columns. So what we are searching for in this project, we want to get the titles, locations, salaries, contract types, and the job details. That means let's proceed and mention the name of our columns. Okay, so the first one is the job title. Then we proceed with the location. Then we want to have our salary, the contract underscore type, and finally we want to have the job description. So it's job underscore description. Oh, sorry, I have one typo here. Description. Okay, I guess we are good to go. And then let's provide one new line. And now I guess this line of code is actually good. And now we can proceed here. We have successfully opened one new CSV file, provided the name of the columns. And in the next step, what we need to do is, after we've provided the 5 different lists, we need to loop through every list and every element inside this list and append these entries inside our new CSV file. So here at the top, where we have created this CSV file in order to write down our column names, now we want to use the same file, obviously, and just use the append mode. So I've just copied this line, pasted it here, and after we have written down the column names, in the next step, we want to append all the elements which are inside this lists here. So now we need to loop through each and every list element. So let's go ahead and write down file.write. And here what we need to do is actually we need to loop through this list elements. That means we need to provide one iterative variable. Let's just go for the standard and use for I in range. And as you can remember, every list element has 20 entries. Let me just show it to you again. So let me just copy this expression, go back to our website, provide the expression here, and you see that we have, for one page, we have 20 job titles, location, salaries, and so on. That means we need actually loop 20 times through every list. And now I can just write down for I in range 20, or I can use the length function and provide one random list element. So let's go and use this titles list, paste it here, and the length of the titles list is obviously 20. That means we have again a range of 20. And before we proceed, we need actually to put this line after we have opened our CSV file. And now let's check what I actually need to do is, let me just provide one indentation here. And inside these brackets, we can start, grab the text elements which are stored inside our lists. So let's start with titles. And inside the square brackets, let's provide this I element dot, not titles, but here we want to get the text element. This is the first step. Then in the next one, let's use the semicolon as our separator. And this procedure we need to do for all 5 lists. So I would say let's just copy this one and paste it here and do our modification in order to save some time again. So here we need to go for the location I.text, again semicolon as our separator. And let's proceed and do this for the remaining stuff. Now let's go and grab the salary list. Again, let's paste it here, and I guess I've forgotten this plus sign. Yep, it's this one. And after we have got access to the salary, we need to go for the contract type. So provide this contract type here. And finally, we need to go ahead with the job details. So let's go with job details I.text. And since this is the last element, we can just remove the separator and the plus sign. And what we need to add here in the last step is the new line. So go ahead and write down that we need to work with the new line element every time we want to append something inside this CSV file. And now I guess we should be good to go. All right, let's start and let's run our code. Let's just provide everything we have here in the last block. This one can be deleted. And now, before I run this code, let's just provide a few more time.sleep elements. For example, after we have clicked the search button, let's provide 2 seconds of waiting time, or time.sleep 2 for 2 seconds, obviously. And now I would say let's just run this code and let's see what happens. All right, as you can see here, again, page is loading. These steps you have actually seen previously. We search for software engineer, Manchester, 30 miles. And now let's go ahead and grab everything. All right, let's take a look again on our Jupyter notebook. Let's see, and we don't have any kind of error message. Let's open up our folder where, you need to make sure that this folder you open is the same one where your Jupyter notebook is stored. And now we see that we have this CSV file we have just created. Let's just double click on that. And now what you can see, this is actually our result. Now it looks a little bit ugly, but we can make this prettier. So go for format as table and choose just one of the tables here. Let's click on this, and actually before I think you can just press OK. Do that. Make sure you don't use this filter button because we don't need it. Double click on one column, or on every columns here. And here you see that we have our results. So job title, location, salary, contract type, and the description. Actually, if you want to clean your data up, you can do this in the next step. For example, here with the salary stuff, because we have this string elements, which can be, maybe a little bit unnecessary. But this is just the raw data we have scraped. And you see here we start with line 2 until line 21. So we have this first page and we have our 20 entries. Actually, you see here that we have 20 entries for one single page, but we have multiple pages here. And now let's take a look how we can get access. Let's say, for example, we want to scrape not just one page, but we want to have the data from 3 pages. That means in this example, we need to work with the pagination. And let's grab again our code and write down the code for the pagination in order to be able to scrape multiple sites. And in order to get to the next page, we need to make sure that we find this next button. So right click on this, let's inspect it, and let's take a look on the structure. So this is actually very straightforward. Let's just make this a little bit bigger. So you see here we have this anchor tag, we have this, for example, area label attribute, and this next value. So let me just copy this value here, and let's build together this XPath expression. So it's A, then we have our area label equals to next, which is the value. And you see here, this is the unique element for this next button. Let's copy that, go back to our IDE. And now what we need to do is we need to provide one new variable. Let's go for next equals to driver.find element by XPath. So find element by XPath. And inside this expression, or inside this function, let's provide our expression for this next button. And what we want to do is we want to click on this. So, and after we have clicked on this button and after we have done our pagination, it's always a good habit to close this file finally. Let's do this, and let's just write down file.close, and this file.close function will just close this CSV file when we have all our entries. Alright, and now we need to provide how many times we want to click on the next button, or let's make it a little bit easier, how many pages do we want to scrape. Let's say we want to scrape 3 different pages. That means if one page has 20 entries, we will get 60 job entries if we have access to 3 different pages. Let's do this by provide one more for loop, and let's just write down for I in range, and here we need to provide the length of the range. So how many pages do we want to scrape? Let's go for range 3. And yeah, so actually we have used this I variable already. Let's just go for, let's say for k. So then, we don't have this double entry. And now let's go ahead and indent everything properly. So let's make this indentation here. And after the CSV file was closed, let's also close our driver. So let's go and write down driver.close. And before we run this code, what we can do is let's give this CSV file a new name. So let's go for job scraping underscore pagination, so that you can distinguish between the old CSV file where we have just scraped 1 page and between the new page, the new CSV file where we have scraped 3 pages. So let's go for job scraping pagination again. So make sure the name is the same, job scraping pagination, and this looks fine. And now we can actually run our code again. Let's do this and let's see what happens. So click on run and let's see what happens now. Actually, this procedure is already known to you, and now our focus should be if we are able to get the next page. And I guess we are scraping, as you can see here. And now let's get every page we need, and you see that this driver was closed. So we don't have any kind of error message. Let's take a look on our folder again, and you see that this new CSV file was created. Let's click on this file. So this was the old one, this is the new one. So job scraping pagination. Let's make everything a little bit pretty again. So format as table. Now let's use this green color, and make sure that you don't use this filter button. And now you can see that we have our, 60 entries. So we start here line 2 until line 61. So we have our 60 entries with the titles, location, salary, contract type, and the job description. Actually, this is the result of our scraping project with Selenium. If you have any kind of questions, please refer to me. And I see you in one of the next tutorials. Thank you very much, take care, and bye bye.